Hey, what are you doing, buddy?
Oh, hey, Ed. Looks like you got yourself an old Lawnboy Ed-ger there. Boy, I haven't seen one of them in a long time. Looks like you're having some trouble with it.
Yeah, well, the first problem I had, Taryl, was getting this thing through the door. Seriously, though, I pulled on this kite string and now it won't go back in. Thing got me all frustrated, so I had to go out to the garage, get my little buddy. It's making me thirsty. Oh, great! Now I gotta refill this.
Whoa, Ed! You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Taryl. Alright, let's fill her up.
Ed, whoa, hey, you're making a mess! And you're wasting it!
Don't worry, Taryl. I'll clean it up.
Stop licking that off the counter. Stop that. I'll clean it up.
Get back in there. Get back in there. Alright, Taryl, I'll clean it up for you.
Stop that, Ed. Stop it.
So yeah, Taryl, if you can get this back pronto, I got a guy who's hot for it. Me. So get it back to me right away.
I'm gonna give you a ride home.
Alright, that sounds good.
Okay, Ed, so you want me to fix this, get that working again,
Yeah.
and it looks like the belt is missing. What happened to the belt?
I don't know anything about no belt, Taryl. But I found this thing. Maybe that'll help you on your little journey.
Alright, Ed, don't worry. I'll take care of it and I'll get it running and working, okay?
Right.
But you're in no condition to be driving, so I'm gonna call you a goober.
You go ahead, Taryl. Yeah, call me a goober.
Pterodactyl here, and today's video is going to be on this here antique Lawnboy Ed-ger. And we're going to see if we can get this thing running. So Ed could edge his lawn. I wonder what that would look like. So first thing we need to do, like with any piece of equipment, we need to find out if it's got compression and spark. And in order to do that, we're going to have to fix this recoil first. So to make it a little easier so y'all could see it, I'm going to pull this cover off. But to take this recoil off, there's a single bolt underneath, 7/16. And there's some other stuff missing, I noticed. There's supposed to be a spring that goes from here to here, which holds tension on this depth gauge lever. So we need to find a spring for that. I can dig up some kind of spring. Well, let's get the recoil off and we'll start with that. Let me get some tools. So it's got a repair sticker on it from Ray's Lawnmower Sales and Service on Cook Road in A-Leaf, wherever that is, because it doesn't give a city and there's no area code on that phone number. So that's interesting. Maybe somebody out there remembers old Ray's lawnmower. So we'll take those two out. Watch out, I'm going to spin this around. And the other two are holding this bracket for raising and lowering the. So now the handle's gonna flop out on me. There we go. Let me get a tray to put these in so I don't lose everything like I normally do. Alright, now we gotta flip it around again. And we got fuel line disconnect. There we go. And while we're at it, let's take a peek inside the gas tank. Oh, it's clean. Nice and clean. That's good. That's a good sign. Oh, sounds like money. So this is your on-off, for those of you who don't know. This is how you turn the mower on and off, or the Ed-ger. And it's also your primer. That's how you prime the carburetor. So get a shot of this down here, see? So this does two things. You prime it, and this is your stop tab, which turns and shorts out the ignition, because there's the wire for the screw. Now we just need to remove this 7/16 bolt from underneath here. If I can lock onto it. I can't get a straight shot. Let me get a wrench. So I remember working on these back in the day. Because this, I believe, is a D engine. So we're going to have a bolt with a little metal square tab. And then here's the tag on the side here that says what it is. Yeah, it's a D462. Alright. So now that I've got this out, this whole recoil drops out of there. And this is your rope guide. It keeps the rope from popping out of there. Now on later Lawnboys, they actually welded a little tab to this, so you didn't have to fumble around with getting this up in there. And here's our starter gear, and then this is the little clip that's got a latch on as we put it back together, so when you pull on it, it'll advance it and make it go back and forth. And then there's just this little clip here so you can replace that starter gear. But this should pull apart when I just go like this. And our spring broke. So that's why the kite string, as Ed called it, came out. So I gotta look and see. I might have a new spring, because it may be difficult to put that little end on the spring that's there. And then we got to clean all this out of there, because this is going to make it stick. So let me go upstairs and look around and see if I got a recoil spring. Otherwise I'll be calling Southam and Charlie. I didn't have a new spring, but I did have a used one on a mower that I've got outside. I got a bunch of these Lawnboys, different years. So I'll get one from Southam and Charlie to put back on that other mower, because that other mower is still good. So we need to take this out, throw that in the scrap bin along with Nikki 6. And I'll take these over to my parts washer, and we'll get them all cleaned up. And we'll put it back together, and then we'll see if we got any spark and compression. I'm going to clean this out of there too. Look at that. Some grass and stuff in there. And we'll put a new plug in it. That doesn't look like the right plug. Oh, it's loose too. Alright, I got it all cleaned up. So I'm going to start by putting the spring in there. And then there's a notch in here, which will get the spring to fit into that notch. And then we'll spin it to wind it up. There we go. You know, if your rope is still on there, you're going to have to keep untangling it. Now this rope looks in good condition, so I'm not going to replace it. But if you did want to replace the rope, you got to take the gear off and undo these 3 screws, and then the rope goes through like a little rope maze. There's no knot or anything tight on it. Alright, now we'll let the tension off now that we wound it up. Now, we do need to put a little bit of lubricant in there. Now, they used some kind of white grease back in the day, but I'm going to use our gel lube, which we sell in our online store. This is good stuff. It's got a lot of uses. I'll just spray some gel lube in there. We don't need a lot. So now we know our rope comes up from this way. So we need to wrap the rope around. See? Now it's pulling straight up. So when we pull on it, you know, this is going to be locked. And then that's going to turn. And then it'll spring back. But we need to put some tension on it first. So we're going to go this way. So we'll go around, let's just go around 2 turns. We'll put enough tension on it. Now we need to put this back on, which goes like this. Now we have to get, now we got to hold all this stuff at once. That's why they started to weld this on after a while. So under, right here, that's why we also took the cover off. So if Mr. Cameraman can get in there, right here, this tab right here, this like flange, that's where this has got to go around. See, like that. That's got to go in there like that. And then we need the spring, we need this part. This tab here has got to be straight up and down. See, this little notch here, that's for that to fit into. That's got to fit up in there. So there's a lot going on when you're trying to reinstall this and keeping this thing in its proper spot. If you want this thing to work right. So I gotta get it up in there and then get that shaft locked back in and make sure that's in there. All right. Then we gotta put this, oh, see, now it slipped on me. That's why a lot of people, some people swear by these Lawnboys, other people swear at them. So it's been a while since I did one of these. Make sure that tab is in the top. Yeah, I gotta turn it a little bit. All right, there we go. And kind of wedge it up in there. Now we can stick this back in there. a little more trickier on the lawnmower even. All right. Now, that little rope guide I was telling you about, see, I got mine on the wrong side of it. So now I got to take it back off. Like I said, this older model is a little tricky. All right, so this is going to be tricky to get this on there. So you got to get this on there. That's got to fit on there. Plus the rope has got to be on the inside of the pulley. This has got to be straight up and down, and it's got to be in this area. And you have to get this fork on each side of this here. I'm sorry, over here. So this has got to get in on over here. This has got to get in that pocket. And this has got to stay on this side. So there's a lot going on to get this thing to fit in there right. All right, I'm on each side of that. All right, there we are. We're in. Now I can put this in there. Back in the day on the lawnmowers, I would do it all by feel from underneath. A lot easier on the newer ones where it's all welded in there. All right. Now let's flip it up. So I can show you. Got all this handle and stuff on here. So look in here. Of course, that little screwdriver fell that I need. Here we go. So now you can see the little pinion gear clip is on each side there. The other end of the wire is on the other side. We got tension on the spring. And our little belt guide is in its proper spot. Our little rope guide, belt guide. So let's give it a tug. Pull it all the way out. And do we have some more spring left? I can make it a little tighter. Yeah, we can go a little tighter. That growling is just that plastic gear on that shaft. So I'm going to spray some carb spray on there. That's got to be dry. You don't want any lubricant on here, on that pinion gear for the starter. So you got to clean it with brake cleaner. See how that growling went away? I think I need a little bit more tension on that. So I'm going to loosen it up. I went 2 turns. I probably should have went 3. So I'm going to loosen it up. I'm not going to take it all the way out. And I should be able to spin this around another turn. Put more tension on it. And then get that clip for that spring back up in there. There we go. Let's tighten it back up. Easier this way, yeah. Get more throw this way. Yeah, that's better. Pull it all the way out. Make sure we're not binding that spring. Yeah, and I could go more. So 3 turns. I know I said 2, but I put 3. Now we got good snapback. All right, so on to the next, which is, let's see if this thing's got spark. I'm gonna take out the plug. Get my handy dandy spark tester. And since we don't have the kill switch on there, we can check and see if we got spark. Yep. Okay. Let's put a new plug in it. Put the cover back on. See if we can get this thing to lick off. We got it all back together. Put a new plug in it. CJ14 is what it takes. And I was getting ready to put our mix of dinosaur juice and dinosaur syrup in there. And I noticed that this gas valve doesn't work. It looks like it's open. So I don't know if I could fix that or if I've got something else laying around. But I'm going to take that off. And we'll see what we could do with it. The fuel line is still somewhat pliable. And it's not cracked. So we'll try to use that over. Because it does have that bend on it. It's molded. If I try to use regular fuel line, it'll probably kink. Oh, I did put a spring on here. I went in my... It's not the actual Lawnboy spring, but at least it's holding it back from moving on us. Put it in that notch to get it out of your way. Which is still in our way. Let me just put it back in there. There we go. See if we can get this out. I think rotary, if I'm not mistaken, or Stens, still offer this shutoff valve. It's got a screen on the end, which is missing. But see what happened? It's like riveted to that, and it's just spinning on there. And it looks like it's open. Let me look around. It's just a 1/8 valve. I might have one. This is for a Briggs & Stratton that I got from Rotary. You're probably going to want that part number. 8546 It says quarter inch hose. This is 1/8 pipe, but it says Briggs & Stratton. I think when I looked this one up with the screen on it for the Lawnboy, I think it was kind of pricey. That's why I opted to go with this. You know, that screen is your fuel filter, basically. Maybe Southam and Charlie's got them too. Maybe he's got them cut off valves. Well, we want to keep going, so we're going to put this one on. We want to get this going. Ed's got some edging to do. Put our fuel line back on. Hope it doesn't leak. Fill it with our mixture. Always like to give it a little swirl. We get this thing more leveled off here. And let's see, maybe we'll get lucky. We won't have to do the carburetor. Or maybe gas will leak all over the place. We'll find out in a second here. This is open, right? Yep. So far, so good. Let's take the air cleaner off. I don't know if we could see in there to see if we're getting prime. We need a flashlight. See if I could see in there. I can hear it. I see wetness. Appears to be priming. You know what? Let's just take this off. When we get a better screwdriver. Pull that air box off here. Those screws were kind of loose anyway. Put that in our little tray. Now that air cleaner looks pretty good. It's an actual Lawnboy. It says percolator type AFP 35. In case you fans out there, you grass rats, are like, I wish you would have shown that air filter, Taryl. I got one of those Ed-gers. Well, I'm showing you. All right, let's look. Oh, look at the nastiness in there. We got to clean that out. Good thing I took that off to show you grass rats. All right. We're going to use gravity. Not that John Mayer song, Gravity. So when I spray in there, it'll rush out. So that we're not spraying anything inside the carburetor. We're trying to flush it out by using gravity. Not the John Mayer gravity. What is that there? Let me get a pick tool now. There's a little port here. And it's got nastiness in there. There we go. It's all clear now. Alright. Let's tilt it up a little so we can see. Kind of get it level. Let's see if we got primer now. I see fuel squirting. Oh yeah. Look at that. All right. Hey, this thing may fire up and run. Then we'll put a belt on it if I got one. Get it on the ground. Fingers crossed. Sounds like the fan's hitting on here. Oh yeah, look at it, it's kind of dented in. I smell old fuel. Yeah, this cover is hitting. Let me try loosening the screws up and pulling up on the cover a little bit. There's no slop in there. There's a pretty good sized dent right there. Maybe I can. You know what it probably is? People get mad at these things back in the day and they start stomping them. They got no patience. So they were probably mad and started a little stomp fest. They were doing some clogging on it. Or clogging. Main jet might be plugged up. Well, there's gas coming out. So it's getting primed. Tilt it back a little. Peek in the carburetor. What's nice about this, you just got these screws right here. Let me shut the gas off. So all I gotta do is undo these screws. Easy enough to get at. Who knows, maybe the reeds are stuck open. I was hoping to get lucky. Get it running. Like with that real mower carburetor. And didn't do nothing to that except bolt it on. Let's get a jar. There's already some crap in this jar, but look at this. It's that little screen. The little screen that the fuel has to go through. let's take that main nozzle out the middle. I gotta back this off. This is the wheel that you adjust it from. That's a needle that runs through the middle of a carburetor. Well, I'm gonna back it off because it might be sticking through this under here. Need better light. What happened to that flashlight? Here it is. Oh yeah, it's all gummed up. Hope it comes out. That don't want to come out. Try a different screwdriver. Probably gonna end up pulling this carburetor off. I think I had another one of these. I couldn't get that nozzle out. I think we ended up putting a different carburetor on it, maybe. It's gonna fit in there. Yeah. Come on, let's get lucky here. Come on. Come out. Ugh, it ain't coming out. It's breaking apart. Alright, I'm going to pull the carburetor off now before I do more damage. Irreversible damage. Four screws. Another problem with these is that lower seal would leak. You know, it looks a little wet under there too. Well, figures it wasn't going to be easy. Ed made this thing sound like it was just running. Like he was just out using it and the rope broke. I think the rope broke a couple of years ago. I gotta hold this down a little. Well, the reeds look good. Yeah, that's plugged. Look at it. Let's take this out. Uh-oh. Somebody's here.
Hey, what's going on, Taryl?
Slippers.
What you doing?
Working on this antique Ed-ger.
Oh, wow, I got one just like that at home. Well, actually, I let Ed borrow it 2 years ago, and I haven't seen it since.
Really?
Yeah, it's a good machine. Actually, I need to call him and get it back. Got some edging to do at my house.
Well, why don't you go do that?
That's a good idea.
Why don't you go call him?
Now that I seen that one, it kind of reminded me of mine, so I need to get on the phone and call him.
Yeah, go do that.
All right. Good seeing you.
All right, see you, Slippers.
All right, see you later.
probably put it in a parts washer too and wash it. Like I said, I doubt if I'm going to be able to get that out. That thing is seized in there. That carb cleaner or carb spray looks like it's eating up that nastiness. Oh yeah, look at this. It made quick work to clean that screen. Except for the inside. Look at that. That's the 2-cycle oil that settled out of the fuel. All right, so let's just try to clean it as best I can. Because again, I don't have a carburetor for this thing. It's old. And I'm not going to be able to get that nozzle out. So I wanted to investigate that scraping noise because I kept hearing that scraping noise thinking it was this cover. Well, that's not the problem. The problem is the magnets are rubbing on the coil. We've got no air gap. So upon other investigation, looks like this top bearing is going. Look at that play in there. So this thing might be junk. Look at that. It's going to cost way too much to try to fix. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to clean out that main jet hole and put this thing back together. And I'm going to add some more clearance to that. And I'm going to put a new bottom seal in it. And we'll see if we can get it to run. It may run, but it may run crappy. But you can see where it was rubbing. See, that was that scraping noise we heard when it was trying to run. So yeah, this thing obviously was ran probably with no air cleaner or dirty air cleaner. But it's just going to be too much work to try to get this thing resurrected. So I'll just add some more clearance to the air gap so it'll stop that scraping. Now I'm going to replace the seal, and to get that pulley off or the hub on these Lawnboys, in case you don't know, because it's on a taper, you know, there's no keyway. So I use my air hammer. I put the bolt back in, and I got a pointed air hammer, and you just hit the end of the bolt and it'll shock it off that taper. Now since this thing is so wore out, look at all that play in there. And we just want to get this thing running. It's basically junk. I'm going to double up the seal. I'm not going to dig out the old seal. I'm just going to put another seal on top of that one and hope it seals up enough to give us crankcase pressure. And I'll have to do the same on the other side. I do have the Lawnboy seal tool. I did save that. So we're going to try to double up the seal. It's only going to go in so far. But that may help. Hey, what do we got to lose? Otherwise this thing's going in a scrap barrel. Alright, so now all I got to do is just reassemble it all. And try to put another seal on the top. And scene. Alright, I got an air gap back in there. But in order to get any kind of air gap, I had to shove this thing back as far as it'll go because that bearing is so wore out. So there's an air gap. I don't know what it is. I didn't put a feeler in there. I just shoved the coil back as far as it would go, just so it wouldn't be contacting. Okay, I ran into some other problems when I put it back together. I got it back together and I tried to start it, and now I got no spark. And I think it's because that excessive gap I put in that air gap. I think they closed, whoever had this or worked on it, closed up the air gap to get spark out of it. So I popped the flywheel off because I was going to put that other seal on the top, and that seal looked good. So I thought, well, while I'm in there, let me sand on the points. So I did, and there was a lot of like corrosion on there. So I sanded on the points, and I went ahead and I put 12 thousandths gap in it. But another thing I noticed when I had it apart is the governor spring was missing. So even if I would have got it running, I would have had to tear it apart again. So this one doesn't have a speed adjuster. So what they would do is, because there's the other end of the governor spring, what they would do is they would put like a little flat piece of metal in there to hold the spring. So I didn't have one, I just used a roll pin. Because I could tell somebody'd been in there and been messing around. So, I got spark. It's not real good spark, but let's see if this thing will run. I doubt it. It may not. It's kind of clapped out. But let's see. All right, let me turn the gas on. Pretty good, because doubling up that seal works. Wow, I'm impressed with them clapped out crank bearings. The kill switch isn't really working, might have to sand that. Let's see if it'll start again without priming it or nothing. I kind of got to push down on it when I turn it off. Should have probably sanded on that stick when I had it apart. All right, let's put a belt on it now and see what happens. See if old Ed can edge with it. Wow, it runs pretty good. I was about ready to write it off. That's pretty impressive. Double up them seals. Well, it turns out I didn't have to take that center nozzle out. I just sprayed it real good with a bunch of carb spray, and it loosened up all that crap because it ran pretty good. So when I went and set that green wheel under there, that's your main adjusting needle, I turned it all the way down till it stops. Don't force it. And I think you were supposed to back it out, if I'm not mistaken, 1.5 or 1 3/4 turns. Well, I turned it out 2 turns because I figured, well, if it runs rich, I could always lean it out. And that's what you do. Once it gets warmed up into temperature with the air cleaner on, because I may have to readjust it, start, if it's running real rich at 2, start turning the wheel in slowly, and you'll hear it pick up speed. And then once it starts to falter, like you turned it in too much, then back it off a little bit. Maybe 1/4 to 1/2 turn when the engine's warm. Now the belt. The belt I put on there was 1/2 by 24. Because I measured the old belt that Ed had. Now if you know anything about twisted belts, if you put the twist in it the wrong way, it'll run it backwards. Like if I had this belt off and had it twisted the opposite way, if I put the twist in it the other way, it would run the blade backwards. So what you do to check it is, once you put the belt on, pull it and see which way the blade spins. And you can see it spinning in the direction we need the edge with. I would put a new blade on it, but I don't have any. And the reason I don't have any is where we live down here in the country, nobody uses an edger. This is a city folk thing. Or if people got an edge, they just turn their weed eater on its side. So I got to go ahead and clean up this air cleaner assembly because of all this nastiness in there. We don't want that to get sucked in the motor. And we'll get a hold of Ed and have him come pick it up. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he was laying out in the parking lot. So I cleaned up this air filter base plate here, and I noticed it's got a hole in there. Now I don't know what that hole's for, but that's, you know, the air's got to come through and go through there into the throat of the carburetor. So this is like a bypass, and it's right on the bottom. So as this bolt's spinning and it's churning up dirt, it was probably sucking in dirt right through there. That's probably why this crank bearings and stuff are all wore out. I'm surprised the rest of it ain't wore out. So I found me one of these little cap plugs that'll fit right in there perfect. And plug off that hole. Well, we got it running, even though the motor probably needs crank bearings, which would be a wise thing to do to make sure that it's, you know, a good unit. But we did get it running, and we learned a few things. So, subscribe to this YouTube channel, Taryl Fixes All. I'm Taryl. Go to our web store, buy some of the products in Taryl Apparel that we mentioned in this video. Follow me with your Lawnboy edgers and loafers and on Facebook and Instagram. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Lawnboy edger! Uh-oh, somebody's here. It's probably Ed coming to pick this up.
Hi, Carwin. I got that edger you said you wanted. There you go, Carmen. Thanks again, buddy.
Oh, great. Only took 2 years to get it back.
Better late than never.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I got some edging to do, so hopefully this thing is ready to go.
Alright, buddy. Thanks again. Hey, when you get done, think I can borrow it?
You know what? Yeah. Well, when I'm done with it, I'm probably not going to need it for a while, so if you want to come back by and grab it, that's fine.
Alright, great, because there's a back patio area I still got to get.
Alright.
I appreciate you.
Okay. Take it easy, Ed.
Alright, thanks, buddy.
This thing's making a mess. I don't know about this thing. Mother's gonna be mad if she sees this. Better clean it up before she finds out. Now I remember why I don't use this thing. Hey Ed, you want this thing back? Come and get it.